later? When is later? All you ever hear is later, Henrik, Henrik, later. Yes, we know, Henrik, oh, Henrik, everyone agrees. Henrik, please, Henrik, you have a thought you're fairly bursting with a personal discovery or problem, and it's what's your rush, Henrik, shush, Henrik, goodness, how you gush, Henrik, hush, Henrik, you murmur, I only, it's just that, for God's sake, later, Henrik. Henrik. Who is Henrik? Oh, that lawyer's son, the one who mumbles, short and boring. Yes, he's hardly worth ignoring. And who cares if he's all damned? I beg your pardon, up inside. As I've often stated, it's intolerable being tolerated. Reassure Henrik, poor Henrik, goodness how you bore Henrik, sure Henrik, though I've been born, I've never been. How can I wait around for later? I'll be 90 on my deathbed, and the late, or rather later, Henrik Eggerman doesn't anything begin.
One of the things I should have explained is that as he's playing the cello, the first half of the song, for example, when he hits the word God way up the top, he's playing a cadenza, very elaborate cadenza on the cello, and later on, he sings the cadenza, which is that elaborate passage. So you have to use your imaginations that he is playing in between the phrases this tune that, in fact, Stewart is playing on the piano. It becomes important because the pauses are not arbitrary pauses in this song. They're pauses for that. And later on, he's doing a little pizzicato passage, which also occurs between phrases. So let's start it again, and this time, grumpier. I should have also announced that the cue into this song is that everybody keeps telling him later. He wants to tell his father what happened in school. The father says later. He wants to make a pass at the maid says later. Everybody's constantly telling him later, later, later. And that's what prompts him to grab his cello furiously and start pumping away at it. So let's start it, keeping that in mind, let's start at the beginning and let's make it kind of more sullen. Yeah. Not so much open anger, but later. Yeah. So it leaves you someplace as an actor to go when you start screaming. Yeah. If you start too angry, then it becomes one tone. Okay? Once more from the beginning. Then. Sitting there grumpily. Everybody having just said later, later, later. Yes, please.
Later. When is later? All you ever hear is later, Henrik. Henrik, later.
Now, it's already too angry. He thinks of himself as a tragic figure, as somebody put upon, as somebody with the weight of the world, which is why he's studying for the ministry. I mean, he just feels that he must, serve in the army of God because it's the only thing left for him, because it's just, as opposed to anger. He's not angry that way. He is disgusted in the adolescent sense of disgusted. He is he's that kind of furious. Don't be too feisty, because if he had enough strength to be feisty, he wouldn't be this kind of Henry. He's put upon, and he's just sorry that nobody feels sorry enough for him. Yes. So he's feeling sorry for himself and letting his cello feel sorry for him. That's why he plays the cello as opposed to the flute, because it's a nice, mournful instrument. Originally, I had intended that each of the characters in the piece be associated with an instrument, and we were going to have everybody carrying an instrument around. It got very pretentious, and so we didn't. But the one that remained was this, because it's genuinely more. He's a mournful. This also takes place in Sweden, for those of you who didn't know that it does, and it has that kind of Scandinavian torpor. It's just endlessly gray, and that's what he is. All right, once more.
Later. When is later?
Good.
All you ever hear is later, Henrik. Henrik, later. Yes, we know, Henrik, oh, Henrik, everyone agrees. Henrik, please, Henrik, you have a thought you're fairly bursting with a personal discovery or problem, and it's, what's your rush, Henrik, shush, Henrik, goodness, how you gush, Henrik, hush, Henrik, you murmur, I only, it's just that, for God's sake, later, Henrik. Henrik. Who is Henrik? Oh, that lawyer's son, the one who mumbles, short and boring, and he's hardly worth ignoring. And who cares if he's all damned? I beg your pardon, up inside. As I've...
Now, those are little plucks, so why don't you do
Oh,
as
right.
That's a little pizzicato thing. See, even he's still practicing, even while he's feeling sorry for himself, he's practicing his lesson, which is that's what's comic about it. He's, he's always aware of what he's doing, at the same time he's aware of what he's doing. So constantly he's got this mirror in front of him.
Yeah.
So that was very good, though. It's starting to get nice kind of, oi feeling to it. I want an oi feeling, okay? Let's go into the as I pluck, or often pluck stated.
Which finger is I pluck with? Hang on.
Yeah,
that's right.
Don't worry about it. Pluck. No.
Thumb right. Let's get this right. As I've often stated, it's intolerable being tolerated.
Let's not lose. That's right. Don't rush it. Take your time. I have a feeling you're rushing this, and that's because you're letting the emotion run away with you.
Yes,
Don't.
true, yeah.
He's a fellow who never lets his emotions run away with him. It's dammed up inside, as he says earlier. So it's, again, don't lose the weariness.
Yeah.
He's world weary at the age of 18. That's the important point. He's lived a long life at the age of 18. Once more, same
You don't
place.
think it's pretty near to a kind of a breakdown? It's sort of on the verge of it.
Yes, but that's his version of a breakdown, you see. Not our version, not a 20th century version of a breakdown.
Yeah.
His version. It's a Scandinavian breakdown. Slow motion. Okay, once more.
Where are we going? Sorry.
As I've.
As I've often stated, it's intolerable being tolerated. Reassure Henrik, poor Henrik, Henrik, you'll endure being pure, Henrik. Oh, I've been born, I've never been. How can I wait around for later? I'll be 90 on my deathbed, and the late, or rather later, Henrik Eggerman doesn't anything
That's terrific. And for those of you who don't know, that swell that he did in his voice there at the end is where he's leaning into the cello. That's what he's doing. That was terrific.